Yo, I'm the big guy Ryback, and I've been telling you guys the truth for almost 8 years on this piece of shit. Do I have your attention now? The truth always wins, even if it takes time. But the truth, and the whole truth, will always come out eventually and always prevail victorious.
You already know what it is. It's your boy LayedBak with another reaction, another review, another episode. Hey, TikTok, you up to bat. Bah. It's your boy LayedBak. Welcome back to my channel. Hey, two things we got to do. You got to hit that subscribe button. I'm drinking this water. You already know what it is, man. Elevate more in 2024. Elevate more in 2024. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the notification bell. Stay up to date with all the videos. We back with another reaction, man. This is for my WWE, WWF fans, wrestling fans. You know, I seen some of the comments about you should do like some wrestling conspiracy theories. We here, you know what I mean? Vince McMahon, a lot of stuff going on with that. But you make it to the end of this one, you a real one for real, man. Make sure you drop that in the comments. I also got a TikTok playlist, a whole bunch of conspiracy theories, a whole bunch of all type of stuff. If you want to check it out, man, go ahead and binge watch it and kick your feet up and enjoy. But let's go ahead and get into it. Fire Squad, what's popping? Let's get it.
WWE Conspiracy Theories Part 1. These are not my personal theories, these are theories I found online, so please do not be mad at me in the comments. Eddie Guerrero is still alive. His whole thing of being I lie, I cheat, I steal was believed to be a ruse of I lied about dying, I cheated death, and I stole your emotion. Eddie had a book and DVD that came out just before he died titled Cheating Death, Stealing Life. Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon were in a gay relationship. Many speculated the supposed relationship because Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon were so close, and with reports of Shawn Michaels being in Vince's office way longer than any other wrestler. People also assumed Shawn Michaels was gay because his flamboyancy, and that he modeled for Playgirl, which is targeted for women and gay men. The clique is Illuminati. People believe they would do anything to be at the top of the wrestling world, even if that included selling their soul to gain success, which people believe they did due to Scott Hall and Kevin Nash's success in the WCW, and Shawn Michaels and Triple H's success in the WWE.
Hell nah. Playgirl.
You know about Chris Benoit, right?
That name almost forbidden
Yes.
to even say.
Very forbidden to say. One of the best wrestlers at the time in the early 2000s. And he died in 2007 because he murdered his family and then committed. They said it was because he was on steroids, like roid rage. They say he had like 10 times the amount of testosterone in his body.
Wow.
And it was either from that or CTE. He was,
So the special move was a diving
yes,
headbutt.
diving headbutt from the top ropes. So
Crazy word.
So now, that was crazy to me is that 14 hours prior to him his wife, anonymous person posted on a wiki page saying that Chris Benoit his family, and then it suddenly went away, and then the cops traced it back to Stamford, Connecticut. And you know what's in Stamford, Connecticut, bro?
The base of the WWE.
The base of the WWE. So I don't know if that correlates with it because they interviewed the guy and he's basically saying like it was just a coincidence. I don't know if it has a tie with maybe they knew something because the WWE is a $1 billion franchise. Vince McMahon's a billionaire, bro, and he just got indicted for supposedly
Saying Vince did a hit on.
You never know, bro.
He did a hit?
Number 7.
Do your own research. Do your own research.
Vince McMahon killed Owen Hart on purpose.
What?
Owen Hart tragically died by falling 78 feet to his death during a failed stunt at WWE's Over the Edge pay-per-view in May of 1998. Owen's fall was accidental, but many conspiracy theorists claim that Vince McMahon was behind Hart's death and killed him on purpose.
Wow.
The conspiracy theory believes that the reasoning behind this is because Vince McMahon was bitter at Owen Hart for breaking the neck of his biggest star at the time,
Wow.
Stone Cold Steve Austin, during the peak of the Monday Night Wars with WCW. This theory also believes that Vince had bad feelings towards Owen Hart because of his brother Bret Hart's actions related to the Montreal Screwjob. This conspiracy theory posits that Vince had such disdain and hate for the Hart family that he tried to bury Owen Hart with a blue blazer gimmick and ultimately kill him on live TV to get back at the Hart family and to gain publicity for WWE.
What? Vince McMahon trying to kill people?
Number 10, The Rock and Nick Khan try to take over WWE. Nick Khan's rise to power in WWE took many fans off guard, especially when it appeared that he had leapfrogged both Stephanie McMahon and Triple H in the WWE hierarchy. He seemed destined to become the new head of the company when Vince McMahon inevitably stepped away from WWE. But now that this has happened, and Stephanie McMahon and Triple H have returned to positions of power, things are a little bit more as people expected them to be. However, that didn't stop conspiracy theorists from creating the theory that Nick Khan's ascent was actually part of a plot by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to end up on top of the WWE. The Rock posted to Instagram in December of 2021, revealing that he and Khan were childhood friends, having grown up in Hawaii together. He reflected on how life comes full circle, with Nick Khan running WWE and Nick Khan's sister working on the TV show Young Rock. The Rock has also purchased the XFL, a football league previously owned by Vince McMahon. So conspiracy theorists believe that he's trying to take control of another one of Vince's babies, the WWE.
I was eating a piece of chicken in the locker room. Someone comes in and goes, dude, you're eating over my bag. And I was like, and his bag was right there. I was like, oh, no. He goes, dude, you just got stuff all over my bag. I go, I still don't think I got stuff on his bag. But I'm sorry, I apologize. Another person walked in, oh, you got stuff on his bag. How could you do that? Unbelievable. And I thought they were joking.
I remember being down in Deep South and hearing like horror tales of, oh, well, here's what Miz did.
It was almost like I was taking the chicken and just throwing it in the locker room and just letting it, smearing it all over the place and all over stuff. Like, that's what I felt like. I was like, and I'm appalled. I'm like, I am so sorry. I did not mean to do it. I'm just trying to do the right thing here. And he goes, you are not allowed to dress in our locker room. I think you should just stay out of the locker room.
Damn.
It was a different era back then, right? So he's loud. People, maybe they think he's entitled. He came from the real world. And it wasn't until I got called up to the main roster where we actually met, and he was changing in like the janitor's closets.
Wow.
Now he had to go and dress in broom closets and, you know, kind of find little hallways where nobody was.
Dang.
When I had to use the restroom, I had to go out into where the audience would use the restroom and where fans would literally, I'd hear kids go, Dad, I think I just saw Miz go into that stall. Oh, okay, son, wait for him. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God, I'm using the restroom right now and this kid is waiting for me outside it. And I have to perform, by the way, in 10 minutes.
Wow. And
so I'd get out and you'd hear the rumblings like, hey, the Miz is in the bathroom. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so humiliating. But I went through it.
A lesser person would have quit, but I never saw him throw a fit. I never got the phone call like I did, for some other talents who are much, much higher on the card with paranoia and questions and self-doubt. He didn't.
Damn, they had Buddy changing in the not the locker room.
WWE
hallway.
Conspiracy Theories Part 1. Follow for more wrestling content. A popular conspiracy theory regarding Daniel Bryan back in 2016 believes that WWE medical staff weren't clearing Daniel Bryan to compete purely because he was too over and they wanted Roman Reigns to get over. And by not having Daniel Bryan on TV, it means that they could focus on trying to get Roman Reigns over, even though it completely failed until he became the tribal chief.
Number 4, Lex Luger killed Miss Elizabeth.
What?
Miss Elizabeth's most famous relationship was with the Macho Man Randy Savage. But not many people know that towards the end of her life, she was actually dating Lex Luger. However, these two were clearly not meant for each other, as the basis of their relationship was pills, alcohol, and lots of fighting. Luger was even arrested for beating up Elizabeth, while they were both messed up on pills and alcohol,
Hell no.
resulting in her sustaining 2 black eyes, a bump on the head, and a busted lip. Luger was released on bail, but less than 2 weeks after this incident, Miss Elizabeth overdosed while she was with Lex Luger and died. Fans found this suspicious, and they came up with a conspiracy theory that something more sinister was at play, and Luger was actually the one behind Elizabeth's death.
I don't concern myself with politics.
Lex Luger? Bro, these wrestlers is...
The Bloodline will go down as the greatest story ever told by WWE. And that's solely just because of the misdirection. And by misdirection, I mean who is the main character of this story. Of course, we think Roman is the main character of this story. Just because his dominant title reign, he's breaking records, he is the alpha male, but he's not the main character. The main character is the main event, Jey Uso. Ever since Roman came back, he was a one-man wrecking crew, hence, wreck everyone and leave. That's until he ran into his cousin, Jey Uso. Now at this time, Jey Uso went from which twin is he to the trailblazing singles competitor. And when his first run-ins with Roman, he proved that he had the stamina, durability, and the heart to be WWE's main guy. And Roman knew that. By every match, it kept getting closer and closer and closer and closer to Jey actually pinning Roman. So what does Roman do? Start the manipulation. Jey has the heart of a lion, but he also wears his heart on his sleeve. Roman, being a narcissistic manipulator that he is, saw that and took advantage of it. The first hit he takes at Jey is starting the whole bloodline thing, exposing one of Jey's weakness, which is family, making him believe he's doing this for their family. Not only that, every chance he got, he pulled Jimmy into the picture too. Knowing that Jey loves his twin brother, he tried to get at Jimmy in every way possible just to make Jey fall in line. If you remember during the I Quit match, the only way Jey said I quit is when his brother was in dear need of his help. Roman knew Jey wasn't going to get tired, so he pulled a tactical heel move and choked his brother out until Jey said I quit. Now let's talk about how Roman kept Jey suppressed by going after everything he loved. Once Jey started liking Sammy, Roman started turning the tables over. And once Jey developed that brotherly love for Sammy,
all this stuff is like scripted anyway, right? Like this wrestling stuff is all scripted stuff, right? Like this ain't real life. You know what I'm saying? This is all scripted. Y'all let me know in the comments though.
Roman did everything he could to mentally push Sammy and to betray him. Because Roman knew Sammy was sparking that fire back into Jey. The fire he tried to keep suppressed all these years. That's why he's the manipulative, narcissistic champion that he is. Which is goated. I'm not gonna lie, bro really is calculated. So when Jey started looking at Sammy as a brother, Roman ended it. Second thing that Jey loved was those titles. When you think of WWE Tag Team, the Usos is one of those names that will pop up because those are their titles. When they lost them and Roman came back to say, hey, me and Solo is going to fight for the championships, he knew that to keep Jey suppressed. But then that leads us to number 3, Jimmy Uso. And that's when we get a bunch of callbacks about these two early feud. Jimmy only fell in line in the beginning of the story because he saw Jey was in over his head. He saw Jey was being controlled by Roman emotionally. So he joined the Bloodline to protect his brother and always look after him.
This dude know everything about them.
Number 14, Jimmy Snuka murder cover-up. Superfly Jimmy Snuka was one of the top babyfaces in the WWF. However, in 1983, off the WWE show at his hotel that he was sharing with his girlfriend, Nancy Argentino, he called 911 to let them know that his girlfriend was unresponsive. It turns out she was dead, and the coroner's report stated that she died of traumatic brain injuries consistent with a moving head striking a stationary object.
Whoa.
The report also showed that Argentino had more than 24 cuts and bruises all over her body.
Whoa.
Snuka was the main suspect involved in the subsequent investigation, but the case was mysteriously left open, and Snuka didn't face any charges.
Hell no.
This led to the conspiracy theory that Vince McMahon used his enormous amount of wealth and influence to cover up Jimmy Snuka murdering his girlfriend.
Hell nah.
Snuka was working for WWF at the time, so this theory believes that Vince McMahon wanted to save the reputation of WWF. Thus, he bribed the police officers so that Snuka would not get charged.
Did John Cena just perform a humiliation ritual at the 2024 Oscars? Cena would walk out in front of everyone with simply a cardboard box covering what people don't want to see. Is this the same John Cena the world used to know? At the beginning of 2023, John started wearing dresses in public and was seen many times looking feminine. People were
Hell
already
nah.
starting to wonder, and then he would go on to make OnlyFans. In one of his OnlyFans videos, you can see John's eyes looking sad. People are thinking Cena is being humiliated by Hollywood on purpose for fame and fortune. Not only did Cena close to embarrass himself at the Oscars, but he did it in front of his ex-wife, Nikki Bella, in the audience. Many celebrities were left uncomfortable after this bit at the Oscars, especially the thought of John Cena's fan base being very young. This has wrestling fans and Cena fans wondering what's going on, and if this is the John Cena we're used to seeing. Follow if you love John Cena.
I don't know, this shit is weird. This some weird stuff.
7 wrestlers who suffered incredibly tragic deaths. 7. Macho Man. Randy Savage. Known for his vibrant personality and in-ring prowess, Savage died in a car accident at 58, caused by a heart attack while driving. He was posthumously inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2015. 6. Chris Benoit. A respected wrestler, Benoit's life ended in tragedy in 2007 when he killed his wife and son before committing suicide.
Crazy.
Investigations suggested brain injuries from wrestling might have contributed to his actions.
Jeez.
5. Owen Hart. A member of the famous Hart wrestling family, Owen died during a WWE pay-per-view event in 1999, falling 70 feet due to a harness malfunction. His family received an $18 million settlement from WWE. 4. Junkyard Dog, Sylvester Ritter. Popular in the 1980s, Ritter died in a car accident in 1998 at 45. He was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame posthumously in 2004. 3. Dino Bravo, Adolfo Bresciano. After retiring, Bravo became involved in illegal activities and was murdered in his home in 1993 at 44 in an unsolved case linked to the mafia. 2. Plume Mariko Umeda. A Japanese wrestler, Mariko died following a match in 1997 due to acute subdural hematoma at 29, marking the first in-ring death in Japan. 1. The Ultimate Warrior. A WI icon, he passed away from a heart attack in 2014 at 54, just days after being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame.
The Warrior was different.
Here are 3 things you did not know about WWE Part 3. And if you would like to know more that you didn't know, make sure to click follow. Okay, at number 1, did you know that WWE's most viewed video on YouTube is 312 million of Randy Orton making it personal with Triple H? Which is basically when Randy Orton handcuffed Triple H to the ring rope and then proceeded to kiss Stephanie McMahon. Number 2, although we call Shawn Michaels Mr. WrestleMania, because like every WrestleMania match that Shawn has had is just like amazing, the guy is actually 6-11. At WrestleMania.
Wow.
6 wins, 11 losses. And number 3, SmackDown was originally supposed to be a WWE Women's show only, or back in the day when they called it a WWE Divas show only. So Monday Night Raw was going to be reserved for pretty much everything they had at that time was Stone Cold, The Rock, Triple H, but just all on the male side of things, and then SmackDown would have just been exclusively an all-women show. This idea resurfaced again back in 2016 when the brand split happened, but they decided to just keep it the same with splitting both rosters up evenly with both men and women. How many of these things did you know? Let me know in the comments.
This is crazy. Rest in peace to her, too. I think she passed away. Rest in peace to her.
I like that. The final pick of the first round. Raw selects.
Buddy said Chris Benoit.
Wrestling Conspiracy. The Ultimate Warrior Replacement. The Ultimate Warrior was one of the biggest stars in WWF. He defeated Hulk Hogan at WM6 to win the WWF Championship. Sadly, there were creative differences, and the Warrior was fired at SummerSlam 1991. In 1992, Ultimate Warrior came back, but he looked a lot leaner. He also had longer hair. Some theories say that the original Ultimate Warrior, James Hellwig, passed away, and Kerry Von Erich was the new replacement. What do you think? Was the Ultimate Warrior replaced? Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
Is when the light bulb went off in my head and I started having a lot better matches. So, is there any point in my career? I would say the WrestleManias, the Eddie Guerreros and the Shawn Michaels, the Brock Lesnars, Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio, Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho,
I had some great WrestleMania matches. Kane, I was really happy with all my matches.
10 years ago when I first was on the road, you had like, The Undertaker was full-time. You had Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, Batista, John Cena, they were still coming up, but you had the old-timers like Bob Holly, Bubba Ray, Devon, JBL, Chris Benoit, who I know I'm not probably supposed to mention his name, but no matter what he did, he was one of the most aggressive, intense in-ring performers that I've ever stepped in the ring with. So off his ability, you know, mentioning his name along with all those other guys, it was intimidating.
Damn, they can't even mention bruh name.
How'd you find out he was cheating? How'd you catch him?
I found a note, actually. Yeah, I found a note.
Like a written note?
A written note.
What did it say?
From Stephanie, from dated a year, like tucked away in his briefcase.
What the note say?
What was in the note?
Just a note from her saying, you know, how much she loved him, and she was on the airplane or something, writing him a love note, and the date was dated like a year beforehand, so that's how I knew.
Now, was she wrestling
back then? That was my only proof, because I was at that point, I was finally getting ready to say, okay, I got to leave the relationship after this incident happened, because that's kind of a deal breaker for me.
Yeah.
You know? And then, but I knew, like, when I was leaving, that there was just something that wasn't right, so I did the old snoop-a-doop.
Women.
Yeah. And I did it good. I mean, I cleaned out the entire house, and, like... And I found, you know, the proof.
After her death in 2016, Chyna's brain was donated for research on chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE, a condition that continues to be at the center of many discussions about the health of professional athletes, including pro wrestlers. Former WWE star Chris Nowinski is the co-founder of the Concussion Legacy Foundation and one of the foremost names in CTE research. After her death, Chyna's manager Anthony Anzaldo revealed that her brain would be donated for the research. He told the New York Daily News, "We want to donate her brain. We want to know what made Chyna tick."
What was the outcome? Like, did they find anything?
It's like that with WWE. WWE have so many tapes hidden. Chris Benoit was like a very popular wrestler in the early 2000s. Before he passed away, 2006, 2007, around there. Everybody loved him. Like, he was the most loved WWE wrestler. And I think he died after Eddie Guerrero. You know Eddie Guerrero?
Yeah, of course.
How Chris Benoit died. A lot of people saw like he had mental problems because his finishing move was like he would jump off the top rope and headbutt his opponent. And he's jumping off high, like 10 feet in the air, headbutt into like the guy's body. This is before WWE found out what really happened. WWE was like, in love and memory of Chris Benoit. He was a loved wrestler and he passed away from... Until the real news came out 2 days after the memorial. He strangled his son, killed his wife, and then himself after. And next you know, WWE was like, holy shit, this is gonna ruin our reputation. Any video or footage of Chris Benoit, get it erased. He won his like a WWE belt in the biggest stage, WrestleMania. You can't find that footage. You can find the footage on like other people's YouTube, but WWE themselves will ignore that shit because he killed somebody. But that story was...
Wow, strangled. Come on, man. Damn. That looked like it hurt.
Do you miss DX?
I miss Chyna. It's not that I don't miss the others, but I see them every now and then, and so I miss Chyna. It was a cool time in my life, personally, to be able to have a relationship. The relationships that we formed during that time are really pivotal times in my life. So yeah, I miss Chyna.
Rest in peace.
How do you feel about the comparisons to Chyna? People say that you're like the most dominant female on the roster since her. Maybe go for an IC title, something like that. Those comparisons are coming up a lot these days. How do you feel about those?
I think it's cool. I want people to keep saying that. I know Kofi said that he wants to see me go for the IC title, and I'm so down for it. I love being compared to Chyna. I know that I get a lot of hate at the same time, which is weird, but like, I understand where it's coming from, where people are like, you can't be the next Chyna, and I'm like, yeah, I can't be the next Chyna. She was absolutely amazing, and she was herself, and she was very unique to her. But I'm the first Rhea Ripley, and if I can get somewhat compared to her, like, I'm doing something right, but I'm also going to do it in my own special sort of tweaking way. But I love to see it.
I respect that. I respect that.
Many doubted we would ever see this day, that you would ever be willing to sell a controlling stake in your company. Right. You are the WWE, and the WWE is you. So why?
It's the right time. It's the right time to do the right thing. And it's the next evolution of WWE.
Now, the new company will have Mr. Emanuel as CEO, with current WWE CEO Nick Khan staying on as president of the brand, Dana White continuing as president of the UFC, while Mark Shapiro assumes the role of president and COO of both Endeavor and the new company. The wild card throughout the bidding process was what role, if any, WWE founder Vince McMahon would play in a new company after a sexual misconduct scandal. McMahon was forced to retire thereafter. He left the company for nearly 6 months before returning to help lead a potential transaction. Most had assumed McMahon would leave altogether if a deal happened. He is staying on as executive chairman of the board at the behest of Emanuel himself. Even so, I asked McMahon about the emotions of parting with a business his father founded in 1953, and whether the scandal that rocked the WWE and McMahon himself ultimately led to this moment. I can't help but wonder, and I have to ask you, had the scandal not happened, would we be sitting here today?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because it makes sense. You take nothing's ever happened like this before. And again, I'm always looking what's best for our stockholders, what's best for the company. This is the best thing that's happened in a long, long time. All of the WrestleManias combined have been 39, including tomorrow. Does it really equal to the magnitude of what we will do together?
Did that event push you towards this day faster than you thought you'd ever be here?
No, it didn't really. In and of itself, no. But it's great that we can combine all of this news together at the same time.
What? Is this a good day for Vince McMahon and the WWE, or is it a great day? Is it a tough day as well? Life. This company's been in your family for 70 years. Is it a tough day?
No, it's a great day.
Yo, I'm the big guy, Ryback, and this is exactly how much WWE royalties actually pays. So this was my last WWE royalty payment that I got the other month. A couple interesting things here to look at. One, the name Ryan Reeves. They have refused to acknowledge me as Ryback Reeves ever since I legally had changed my name on any piece of, whether it's through the emails with their attorneys on the various things that we had going on, or stuff like this. They keep it as Ryan Reeves. So I've been off TV 7.5+ years. And when I left WWE, they did not make any new Ryback merchandise. And after winning the trademark, they are now never allowed to make anything new with the Ryback trademark.
Right.
But this right here is from the third quarter of October 2023, in which I made $289.88. Now, what did WWE actually make for the quarter? On this sheet right here, WWE made $3,579.79 on the Ryback brand for the third quarter of October 2023. So I did the logical thing on this, and I gave my good friend, Big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner, a call, and I go, Scotty, can you help me kind of figure out this math of like what WWE makes compared to what talents make on the royalty payments? So Big Papa Pump goes, big guy. Easy mathematics. He goes, you take the 3579.79 and you divide it by the 289.88, and then you get the rate at which WWE, what they make to what WWE talents keep. And he goes, holla if you hear me. So when you do the Steiner math on this, you get a number of 12.34. And what you get with that is for essentially every $1 million that WWE makes on royalties, they pay the talent $81,000, roughly. This is all ballpark. For every $10 million a WWE brand makes the WWE, they pay that talent $810,000.
Wow.
And for every $100 million a talent or brand makes the WWE on royalties, they get $8,103 roughly.
Wow.
Now, when you have all your talent, you have a plethora of talent making the organization millions upon millions of dollars per quarter, you get a greedy son of a bitch billionaire hoarding the profits who's probably going to get forced out of his own company altogether and ultimately busted by the FBI. Hopefully serve the rest of his life behind bars. And that's the last bite. Feed me more.
Wow, that sounds like the music industry.
Yo, I'm the big guy Ryback. And I've been telling you guys the truth for almost 8 years on this piece of shit. Do I have your attention now? The truth always wins, even if it takes time. But the truth and the whole truth will always come out eventually and always prevail victorious. This man, if you even want to call him that, man, child, little boy, scared little boy, and an old man's body, is obsessed with power and control in tormenting other human beings, good human beings. The first time I ever looked in that little boy's eyes, I saw pure evil.
Wow.
And I knew I wanted nothing to do with him and his piece of shit company at that time. This piece of shit has had all my social media suppressed and did everything in his power to try to ruin my life and to try to turn good people against me over the years with all the lies and fake accusations and negative articles on me. But mainly suppressing me and my brand to try to hurt the perception of me to the people out there. The truth always wins. I've got my health back. I'm coming back bigger and better than ever. He's gonna be done. The truth will ruin this man. And the whole truth hasn't even come out yet. There's so much worse that's gonna come out with him. And I've been telling you guys for 8 years. Ryback rules. And you're gonna realize this very, very soon. And that's the last bite. Feed me more. Good luck, Vince.
Damn. He ain't fucking with Vince.
You have former employee of WWE, Janelle Grant, alleging that the former chair of WWE, Vince McMahon, forced her into a sexual relationship. There was sexual assault, sexual abuse, and trafficking at the hands of Vince McMahon.
What?
She goes on to say in this 70-page complaint that in one instance, she was forced into sexual activity by McMahon and another WWE employee locked in a room. She said she did not want to participate, but she was forced to do so. In this complaint, she alleges that one of the men said no means yes. Now, Janelle Grant worked for WWE for about a year, and essentially she's detailing that in order to get a job and keep her job there, she was forced into this sexual relationship with McMahon and forced to engage in sexual activity with other WWE employees and WWE superstars. Wow. Now, ultimately, she says that WWE was aware of what was going on, but did nothing. She was there for about a year. She ended up leaving, but before she did, she says she was forced to sign an NDA by McMahon in exchange for $3 million. So McMahon is responding via a spokesperson. They responded to Deadline. Here is exactly what this spokesperson said. Quote, "This lawsuit is replete with lies, obscene made-up instances that never occurred, and a vindictive distortion of the truth." Goes on to say that McMahon will vigorously defend himself.
Bro, what is going on, man?
Did you read the lawsuit that came out this week? And if you did, what was your reaction to it?
I did not. I think Cody mentioned it, that we all found out in real time when you were. And that's the truth. I'll go back to what I said before. This is an amazing week for us. And I just, at this point, I don't even want to get bogged down in the negatives of it. I just want to focus on the positives and where we're going. And we're at the most exciting time of the year for us.
Bro, Triple H.
So those allegations are horrible, man, and it's so hard to listen to because that's not my experience. He was so good to me, and Vince had a genius about him, and he was not the easiest to work with, but he had also lived an extremely interesting life in terms of what he built, and so I liked learning from him. I liked talking to him. He is responsible for all of the things in my life by building WWE, and for the most part, we've had some ups and downs, but he was always good to me as a person, and always treated me with respect, and I felt like I had earned a lot of respect from him, and he gave me a lot of respect. And then you're hearing this other side, which is not the person that I know.
Are you a sick, perverted, power-hungry freak? No.
Wow. Wow.
You did talk about the Vince McMahon lawsuit and all that. How is that for you to sort of reckon with? Now, obviously, that's somebody you've done a lot of business with, but obviously not a great situation that's going on right now.
No, it's not. It's a crap situation. I said it in the interview the other day at Radio Row. It sucks. It's horrible. It's disgusting. I don't like hearing about it, reading about it. It's abhorrent, and I hope that if the allegations are accurate, I hope that anybody who's involved with it gets what's coming to them, because it sucks, dude. For me, it's very difficult because, again, I didn't see that side of him. You know what I mean? I didn't experience that. And so when you see stuff like that, it's jarring and it's painful and it sucks all around. There's just no other way to say it. It sucks. It really sucks.
There was a real dark cloud over this weekend following the allegations against Vince McMahon. You've talked about how Vince met with you personally to bring you into the company. I just wanted to get your reaction to the report, and as someone who served as an executive within the industry, what changes do you think should be made across the board to prevent situations like this from happening again?
It's a great question. I know as far as the news is concerned, we were finding it out and reading the same things that you guys were reading. And you said a dark cloud, certainly. As far as TKO, Nick Khan and the board clearly took it very seriously, acted immediately. And looking at the future, I don't know the answer to that. And I think somewhere is probably a basic tenet of just this crew, more than ever from a roster standpoint, is very family. I've never seen anything like this. Most of the time, wrestling locker rooms are fighting, talking trash about each other, making fun of each other, sandbagging each other in the ring, all that nonsense. This crew is very team-based, and perhaps that's the ingredient, is everyone looking out for everyone,
that's real.
Being accountable. And I know for me as a performer and a competitor, I've been through dark periods in our industry before. And it might sound cheesy, but it's very reinforcing, if you're in my position, that it's a time when, hey, we got 50,000 people out here. I want to give them something else from this weekend that isn't a terrible situation and terrible news. And I think we were able to do that. And obviously, as more news comes out, we'll be seeing it just like you do. Thank you.
There was a reason Vince left, and it was several accusations or cases of sexual inappropriateness at work. The rape allegations, coercion of sex, punishment for refusing sex, like all kinds of very, very serious charges. I think in excess of like $20 million spent to cover it up, hush money, NDAs, settlements in court to make it all go away. It's like he didn't just leave because he wanted a vacation.
Man, Vince was wild.
So I've got a serious question. Now that Vince McMahon is out, who are people going to blame when they don't like a storyline? Because it was so easy for so long to just go, Vince McMahon, he's so out of touch. And don't get me wrong, Triple H is doing like an unbelievable job with what we've been seeing on TV over the last few months. But when something happens that people don't like, you can't blame Vince anymore. So what are you going to do?
Oh, well.
I'm Jessica, and I represent victims of SA and CSA, and we are breaking down the allegations in the lawsuit filed against World Wrestling Entertainment and its co-founder, Vince McMahon, in federal court yesterday. We are almost to the part where we discuss whether Brock Lesnar may or may not be involved, but we are still not there yet because there is that much stuff to get through. Send the kids out of the room for this part. Trust me on that one. Just a reminder, this is not my case. I don't know any of the parties involved in the case, and everything that I'm about to share with you is something that is publicly available. It either comes directly from the lawsuit or it's available in the media. Moreover, this video may contain some pretty graphic descriptions of alleged acts of SA. So if that's something that would set you off, please consider this your trigger warning, and I won't take it personally if you need to scroll on. Do what you need to do. Now, by March of 2020, Janelle Grant says that she was suffering greatly from the effects of PTSD, that she had lost a significant amount of weight. She was down to about 100 pounds, and that the sexual encounters with Vince McMahon were becoming more and more violent and more strange, to say the least. But then she says, just as the world is shutting down for COVID, she receives a message from McMahon that he has shared her private photographs, the sexually explicit photographs that he implored her to send to him. Purportedly, McMahon showed them to a WWE referee who was so taken aback by Janelle Grant's beauty that he had to excuse himself to take care of business by himself. Now, understandably, Miss Grant became very upset at the news that her private photograph had been shared with someone, not to say nothing of the fact that it was a coworker who had seen it. And Vince McMahon allegedly used this as an opportunity to reinforce that he was in control, that he had the power, that this man was incredibly loyal to McMahon, and that everyone at WWE had such a level of loyalty for McMahon that they basically considered him a god. My words, not his. A couple weeks later, Grant says that she found out that the photograph had been shared by that coworker with a friend of his, and so there were now nude photographs being passed around amongst her coworkers and their friends. In the days that followed that discovery, Grant says that McMahon told her that he personally made sure that her job would not be impacted by an upcoming company-wide furlough, that she would continue to be employed and she would continue to be drawing a salary thanks to him and his decisions. Now, definitely make sure there ain't no kids in the room from this point on, because starting in May of 2020, while the rest of us are hunkering down trying to avoid getting COVID and wondering if we can run to the grocery store real quick, Janelle Grant says that Vince McMahon began talking about an ongoing fantasy he had for threesomes. Grant says that she resisted the idea, that she told him it was not something she wanted to do, she wasn't comfortable discussing it, and it was not something she consented to. Lo and behold, she shows up at McMahon's condo in May of 2020, and there is a third party there. And she said that she was forced to engage in a threesome that involved a bodily substance provided by Vince McMahon that, we'll just say, didn't come out the front. And I'll meet you in part 4.
What?
John Cena was asked about Vince McMahon's sexual misconduct allegations in an interview that was published today. Ex-WWE referee Rita Chatterton, the first ever female referee in WWE, accused Vince of forcing himself on her in a limousine in 1986. McMahon denied the allegations, however, this wasn't the first. She had first come forward in 1992 with the allegations, but no charges were brought against McMahon. A former spa manager had also accused McMahon back in 2011. Vince was forced to step down as WWE CEO during an investigation into an alleged affair he had with a 41-year-old paralegal, who Vince allegedly doubled the salary of when the relationship began and gave her $3 million in hush money. Vince had also agreed to pay $12 million in non-disclosure agreements to 4 women since 2006, one of which he allegedly fired when she refused his advances. When asked about all this, Cena said, "Everyone has a right to their perspective. When you love somebody, you take them as imperfectly as they are. We all make mistakes, we all have poor decisions. There's no way I can go on record and say I don't love Vince McMahon." That's what Cena thinks. What do you think?
What?
Anyway, I mean, when Vince got Me Too'd out of the business, I did think it was a surprise, but
as good as he is, I would not completely count that he couldn't come back. When the men start coming out, it will be a different story.
Wait, he used to bang dudes a lot?
Oh, yeah. But he would hold their careers over them, just like he would the women. It was the same thing. You get paid more, you get pushed more. This is not a secret in the industry. Like, I'm not talking trash right. Yeah, not at all am I talking trash. This was very well known. Sure.
Yeah, V. Diddy.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, Shawn Michaels, like guys that you would know. There was things.
Wait, he was banging Shawn Michaels?
Well, or whatever it is that they. But yes, they had their. They had their relationship.
Shawn Michaels was pretty
because
good.
you're wondering if I'm like
he looks like
doing a bit.
Long hair.
Long
hair. It's cute. Shawn Michaels not bad. What about ravishing Rick Rude or whatever? What about?
I don't remember him.
Yeah, Razor Ramon.
If you had to bang one wrestler, who would it be?
He was.
Man, come on, man.
Ashley Massaro is someone I think about a lot after all these Vince McMahon allegations came out, because she had a lot of allegations about Vince McMahon himself and the WWE. And she is no longer here with us to really share her story. We only have what she said in the past, and I just want to share some light to what happened to Ashley. Ashley was a WWE superstar. She was the 2005 Diva Search winner, which means the fans voted her to become a WWE Diva / WWE superstar. That's how she got her start. And every year, the WWE really likes to pay tribute to their troops, so they went to Iraq every year around the holiday season, and one year they went to Kuwait. In a 2016 affidavit that was part of a concussion safety lawsuit that multiple wrestlers filed against the WWE, Ashley shared what happened to her in Kuwait and that she was basically raped there. On this app, I can't say the actual word, so I'm saying what fruit rhymes with the actual thing that happened. Ashley alleged that a military personnel impersonated a doctor and he drugged her. She was seen by a WWE doctor. These people travel all around the world, so of course they're going to have doctors that travel with them. So she did report her incidents with a WWE doctor, and the doctor did report her allegations to WWE executives. WWE executives were Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis, Kevin Dunn, and others. They apologized for allowing the incident to happen to Ashley, but they encouraged her not to pursue legal action because they didn't want to risk their relationship with the military. This incident happened in 2007, right? The WWE never made a statement about it while Ashley was still alive. After she passed away in 2019, these allegations and news articles were written about what happened to her, and the WWE responded. They said at no time was Vince McMahon or the management of WWE ever informed by Ashley or anybody else that she has been sexually assaulted or drugged or raped, I can't say these words on this app, by a military doctor with a nurse standing guard while on a goodwill tour in 2007 to U.S. military bases in Kuwait. In fact, if she ever articulated such a claim to WWE, we would have reported it immediately to the base commander. At no time was there ever a meeting with Vince McMahon, Kevin Dunn, or John Laurinaitis, or other company executives in which she told them of such a claim, and she was instructed to keep it quiet. But the truth always comes out, even when these large corporations lie, because a lawyer of John Laurinaitis said any allegations that Mr. Laurinaitis helped to cover up an allegation of, rape is an outright lie. Johnny, like most upper-level management at some time, became aware of the allegations and endured all proper WWE protocols were followed, including privacy for the alleged victim. We object to use of the term cover-up, as no such plan or plot ever took place to hide or assist in an alleged. So John Laurinaitis pretty much outed them and said that, yes, she did tell them, but there was no cover up. They made all the right actions to protect her as the victim, which was doing absolutely nothing. Sadly, there is more to Ashley's story, and I will be making a part 2 shortly.
Rest in peace to her. This stuff is craziness.
Vince McMahon is shaking, and he's been shaking for a while. I've been meaning to do this story, but now he's finally forced to sell his shares of the TKO company, which is the parent company of the WWE and the UFC. He's finally have to give up his shares in the company that he made popular. There's so much to this story, and there's so much scandal and tea behind this. Let's talk about it. A reoccurring topic I constantly hear when it comes to the Sean Diddy Puffy Combs case is they say, y'all are so focused on the black man. The black man did this horrible thing, but there's got to be a white man that did something that's crazy. I found him. Your white man is Vince McMahon. Baby, this case is really, really nasty. And they almost did the same thing. Wow. I really kind of want to say that. Well, Vince McMahon had a lady that he had working for him. Although this is not his first time being in trouble. He actually had to step down from the WWE in 2022 because he had got some allegations against him. This lady's coming out in January 2024 with a whole new set of allegations that made him step down again. So let me tell you the story about that lady. This is Janelle Grant. When Janelle Grant met Vince McMahon, she was helping her parents who were dying. They were living in the same building as Vince McMahon, and they were a lot older. She had filed bankruptcy. She went through a lot taking care of her parents. But Vince McMahon came in, and he kind of moved like an angel at one point. He helped her. He gave her a job with the WWE. And this was all, at first supposed to be just, I'm just trying to help you. I see that, it was under disguise of eventually she had to do some extra acts for him. Now, those extra acts, baby, they are nasty. He actually defecated on her head. I'm going to show the emoji if you don't know what defecated meant. Boop. Okay? He did that on her head while they had an actual encounter with her, him, and the personal trainer. So everybody around Vince McMahon could get it, okay? And there are other women, I told y'all, that put him in lawsuits before where he had to step down in 2022. He shit it. So at that time, when 2022, he didn't have to sell any of his shares of the TKO company. He just had to step down. They came back together and voted him back in, okay? And that's how he was able to get back in. Now he's out because of this lady. But this lady, Janelle Grant, not only is she using her name, she's trying to open doors for the other people that she knows that she said allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly because they still have to do the trial and everything for this, were assaulted allegedly by Vince McMahon. And it wasn't just him. She said it was this guy right here, John Laurinaitis. He's a former wrestler and also a chairman with the WWE. He has a lot of power, just like Vince McMahon. And they had this lady on call if they wanted to mess with her. And she said that sometimes it was violent. They would hold her down and that their theme was no meant yes. She had to do everything with them to the point where this lady started experiencing very bad health problems. She started losing her hair. She started becoming very weak. And Vince McMahon did not care. Although he didn't care. He literally said, like, look, you be all right. Let me show you what they quoted that he said. She said she was enduring emotional trauma. He said emotional trauma, my A. Okay, that's quoted in this lawsuit, y'all. This stuff is crazy. Vince McMahon told that lady, I don't care what you're going through, you all right, and you're going to do whatever I want to do with whoever I want to do it if you want to keep your job. And also, if you don't want these nudes spread to the world, because he had a lot of photos of her. Now, a lot of this was under the guise that this lady was supposed to be keeping her job. So a lot of the moves that she made, the text messages that she, text back in the lawsuit, they look like they're giving consent. She's saying she was coerced into everything. She was held, her job was held over her. Her safety was held over her, allegedly. She said that he would make her do things with other wrestlers. And there was videotape of that. And he said that videotape would hit the internet. And not necessarily that harm would be caused to her, but I inferred something in the lawsuit, like he would somehow get the law involved. Like, were you going to get this lady arrested? I don't know what he could have done, but he said he was going to do whatever until he had to fire her. He had to fire her when his wife found out about their affair.
Ooh.
This is the wife. When the wife found out, he took her job, and then he also still demanded access to her. If I'm not able to have access to you, I'm still gonna, do you harm, and you sign this NDA. And this lady is coming out and saying she wants that NDA revoked because she signed it under duress. That will open up her being able to write a book. Now, she would be the first person that came out and write a book or made a movie, anything against Vince McMahon. If they say that NDA is null and void, baby, she's going to get $1 million off of the lawsuit and off of that, because everybody's going to watch that.
Right.
Now, I know you're wondering, Chrissy, what is he actually in trouble for? Get to the point. He's being accused of sexual assault and X-trafficking. Now, where does the X-trafficking come in? When you cross state lines with someone and take them to sleep with someone else, that is X-trafficking. You're crossing state lines. When you do any kind of situation, y'all need to hear this, because I hear a lot of it in the music. Oh, let my homie hit her, pass her around. That's my two. You know what I mean? I'm shoot for the bros and pass her around. That kind of culture is X-trafficking, and you can get in a lot of trouble. And there's a paper trail of that, a lot of that through text messages between them. He would say a lot of gross, disgusting stuff to her, say who she had to go meet up with. I told you that John guy, he was calling her in the middle of the night and she had to go. That is them trafficking her according to the law. Now, why this is a big deal, because this has been going on for a long time, is the news just came out yesterday that he's having to sell his share. He's having to sell his share of TKO. TKO, I told you, is the WWE and UFC parent companies. That's a lot of money. He's worth $2.6 billion, okay? Nothing to sneeze at. He's going to have something left. But now that these stakes are for sale, TKO is completely trying to get away from Vince McMahon. They do not want their name tarnished and tied to this, because it looks bad. It looks very bad, and it's gonna get worse, especially when they go to trial. Stuff really gets to coming out, and then when more people step forward, because the stuff is gross. It's real bad. So it's not looking good for Vince McMahon. They had his daughter at WrestleMania. That was really scandalous. But there was some clips that I saw of him having kind of like a weird relationship with his daughter. Y'all look into that. I'm not trying to get in trouble on social media, but there's a lot of tea here. There's a lot of scandal here. And at least you know it ain't just Diddy.
This is craziness.
Now let's dive into this situation with Vince McMahon, because you may have heard that last month he resigned from his post as the chairman of WWE's parent company, TKO. And that's because the day before, a former employee filed a lawsuit against McMahon, another executive, and the WWE, accusing them of physical and emotional abuse, assault, and trafficking. And all of this adding on to the already existing allegations against McMahon, because back in 2022, he had actually retired from the WWE amidst misconduct claims, with the board then investigating accusations that he paid $12 million in hush money over the prior 16 years, which then later turned out to actually be almost $20 million. With then months later, McMahon paying millions of more in dollars to settle a lawsuit alleging that he raped a former wrestling referee in 1986. But then, after all of that, he ended up returning to the company the next year. Though now, with everything that we're seeing, it appears that he may be gone for good. And that one coming from Janelle Grant, a woman who says that she met McMahon in 2019 when they lived in the same building, with her saying that he offered her career-making and life-changing promises. But then soon after, she says that he pressured her into a sexual relationship. And one of the big final things is the lawsuit alleges that other WWE executives knew about Grant's relationship with McMahon, and saying that the company actively sought to conceal the wrongdoing. Now, with all this, you have a spokesperson for McMahon telling Deadline the lawsuit is replete with lies, obscene made-up instances that never occurred, and a vindictive distortion of the truth, and adding that he will vigorously defend himself. But with so many accusations and lawsuits piling up from different women, you have many people having a hard time believing that. But follow to stay in the loop.
Man, Vince McMahon, you wildin', bro.
Vince gave a very famous Playboy interview in 2000 when he evokes the old billionaire bootstraps mantra. He says, I'm not big on excuses. When I hear people from the projects or anywhere else blame their actions on the way they grew up, I think it's a crock of shit. You can rise above it. Obviously, what he's talking about here is the fact that he came from this really traumatic upbringing, as so many of the incapable and sometimes criminal CEOs that we study do, and how he pushed past that to be successful in business. Of course, he doesn't mention that those people in the projects he's referring to may not have daddy's business to take over. There's a path we could take, and we could say, look, Vince was abandoned by his father. His mother violated him in a really terrible way. His stepfather was a very dangerous person to be around. He even alludes to the fact that he can disassociate and eliminate bad feelings and bad memories from his mind, which is a coping mechanism that people use when they have like complex or chronic PTSD. And it makes sense that he would inflict the same trauma onto his wrestlers that was inflicted onto him. However, in my opinion, Vince McMahon is one of the most egregiously abusive CEOs I have ever researched, and the consequences are deadly. Vince is not the CEO of a tech company where his employees can go get another job. This is an unregulated business monopoly that employs athlete performers that are extremely passionate about what they do. Vince knows that, and he took advantage of that. He took advantage of women wrestlers and referees. He's the subject of a number of lawsuits alleging he harassed or even assaulted them. There are instances when he and Linda allegedly cover up child sexual abuse in the Ring Boy program. Their efforts to bury these lawsuits ultimately led to the suicide of one of these victims.
What?
So Vince, I'm going to use your own words against you. In this case, I'm not big on excuses. You should have taken the time to rise above your own trauma before you inflicted pains on others. You should have protected those who made you the billionaire that you are today. Your business model depends on exploiting others. It would be more shocking if he didn't become a billionaire with all the exploiting he did. Your power, your money, your influence have shielded you from most consequences except the one that you value most, the preservation of the legend of Vince McMahon. And I hope when people listen to this podcast, they're able to weigh your creativity with the death and destruction in your wake. You, Vince McMahon, are a worm with a mustache.
You're a worm with a mustache.
All right, that was another conspiracy theory TikTok. That was crazy. That was crazy. If you made it this far, man, drop real one for real in the comments, because that's what you are. Y'all let me know about this whole WWE, Vince McMahon. What is going on? What is the timetable? Are they going to court? Is it going to be a trial? What is going on? This is craziness. This is craziness. I'm a big fan of wrestling, you know what I'm saying? But this stuff is not cool at all. For him to have his power and then abuse it like that on people and wrestlers and his staff, and this stuff is just crazy, man. I'm blown away. That's all I can say, man. But if you into this stuff, I got a TikTok playlist you can go through and watch, man. This was crazy. This was a lot. But you already know, man. Till next time, self-love and positivity. Fire Squad, I got you and you know it.